All right, so you're listening because you know e-commerce is a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
Maybe you've got your own online business, you're thinking about starting one, or maybe you just like to keep up with the trends.
I think we've all bought something online at some point.
For sure. But we're going to do a deep dive today into a kind of surprising stat.
Okay, hit me.
A whopping 90% of e-commerce businesses,
Wow, really?
yeah, 90% they fail
90%.
within the first few years.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot. But this isn't meant to be like a doom and gloom episode.
Right.
This is about figuring out why those businesses fail so we can learn from their mistakes.
Exactly, because if we understand the reasons for those failures, we can try to avoid them.
Exactly. So you can be in that successful 10%.
And hopefully our deep dive today will provide some insights to help with that.
So 9 out of 10 e-commerce businesses shutting down, that's a pretty stark reality.
It is. And it really highlights the importance of understanding the reasons behind these failures.
So let's talk about those reasons. Why do so many e-commerce businesses go under?
Well, one of the biggest pitfalls is a lack of market research.
Okay, so like not doing your homework before you jump in.
Exactly. It's like setting sail without a map or, opening a restaurant with no idea if people in the neighborhood even like the food you're serving.
Yeah, you can have the best burger in the world, but
Yeah.
if you open up shop in the middle of Vegan Central, you're probably not going to be in business very long.
Exactly. And there are so many examples of businesses that had great ideas, even great products, but they didn't do the research to see if there was an actual demand.
Okay, do you have any examples of that?
Yeah, there's the case of Juicero. Have you heard of them?
Ducero, rings a bell.
So they developed this really high-tech juicer, all bells and whistles.
Fancy.
Yeah, very fancy, raised millions in funding. But the problem was that people quickly realized that they could just squeeze the juice packs by hand. They didn't really need this expensive, complicated machine.
Oh, so they didn't actually solve a problem that people had or a need.
Whoa. Exactly. They skipped that crucial step of validating their idea in the market.
That's got to hurt, to raise millions and then realize people would rather use their hands.
It's a tough lesson to learn, but it really underscores the importance of market research.
So market research, definitely key. What else should e-commerce entrepreneurs be thinking about?
Well, another major factor is branding and customer trust. Think about it. Have you ever landed on a website and just immediately felt like something was off?
Yeah, all the time.
Right. Maybe the design looked amateurish, or there were no customer reviews.
Or the checkout process looked like it was straight out of 1999.
Exactly. In the online world, first impressions are everything. If potential customers don't trust your website, they're not going to give you their money.
Makes sense. And it's not always about obvious red flags either, right?
Yeah.
Like, what are some less obvious things that can erode trust?
Well, one thing that's often overlooked is consistency. If your brand voice is super professional on your website,
Yeah.
but then on social media, you're all goofy and meme-filled.
Ah, so like a split personality.
Yeah, exactly. It can create confusion and ultimately damage that trust you've worked so hard to build.
Okay, consistency noted. So we've got a great product, we've done our market research, and our branding is rock solid. What's next?
Well, all of that is useless if your website is a nightmare to navigate.
Yeah, if I have to click through 5 pages just to find the product I'm looking for,
Yeah.
I'm out of there.
Exactly. A clunky website can kill your business faster than almost anything else. Slow loading times, confusing navigation, pages that aren't mobile friendly. These are all major turnoffs for customers.
I'm actually curious, have you ever, like, rage clicked out of a website because of that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We've all been there. And our research even emphasized this point. In e-commerce, first impressions matter.
They really do.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a great product, rock solid branding, user-friendly website. We're good to go, right?
Not quite. You need to get the word out, which means we need to talk about marketing.
Okay, so how do we make sure people actually find our amazing website?
The mistake a lot of businesses make is thinking that marketing is just about running some ads and hoping for the best.
Right, so it's got to be more strategic than that.
Much more. Think of it this way. You wouldn't open a restaurant and just expect people to magically find it.
Unless it's like unbelievably good and word of mouth spreads like wildfire.
Sure, but that's rare. Most businesses need a solid marketing plan to attract customers.
So what does a solid marketing plan look like for an e-commerce business?
Well, a good place to start is with SEO.
SEO, search engine optimization.
Right, making sure your website shows up in search results when people are looking for products like yours. Then there's content marketing.
Like blog posts, videos, that kind of thing.
Exactly, creating valuable content that establishes you as an expert and draws people to your site. And of course, you can't forget about targeted advertising.
Reaching the right people with the right message.
At the right time. It's all about finding the right mix of strategies and constantly analyzing data to see what's working.
So it's not a set it and forget it kind of thing.
Definitely not. The successful e-commerce businesses are constantly adapting their marketing strategies based on data and customer feedback.
Okay, so we've covered knowing your market, building trust, getting the word out. Anything else that can trip up e-commerce businesses?
There's one more really important factor, and it's often overlooked: customer retention.
Okay, so not just getting new customers, but keeping the ones you already have.
Exactly. A lot of businesses pour all their energy into attracting new customers, but they forget about the goldmine they already have.
It's like constantly chasing new butterflies while ignoring the beautiful garden you've already cultivated.
That's a great analogy. Acquiring new customers is expensive, but your existing customers already know and trust you.
Right, they've already voted with their wallets.
Exactly. Nurturing those relationships is key to long-term success.
So how do we do that? How do we keep those customers coming back for more?
Well, personalization is huge these days. Think Amazon recommending products based on your browsing history.
Oh, yeah, I love that. It's like they know me better than I know myself.
Right. And then there are loyalty programs, rewarding repeat customers with discounts or exclusive perks.
Makes you feel special.
And of course, never underestimate the power of good old-fashioned, excellent customer service.
Speaking of customer experience, I'm guessing inventory and fulfillment can also make or break an e-commerce business.
Absolutely. Mismanaged inventory can be a real headache. Overstocking can tie up your cash flow.
Yeah, and understocking means you miss out on sales.
Exactly. And then there are shipping delays, damaged goods. Those can really damage your reputation and lead to those dreaded negative reviews.
So it's all about delivering on the promises you make.
Yeah, and making sure the whole process from clicking add to cart to receiving the product is smooth and enjoyable for the customer.
All right, so we've talked a lot about why e-commerce businesses fail. It's a lot to consider.
It is.
But the good news is our research also highlights what the successful 10% are doing right.
Exactly. We can learn a lot from those who are thriving in this space.
So let's shift gears and talk about how to win in the world of e-commerce.
What's really interesting is that these winning strategies aren't about magic tricks or secret hacks.
Okay, so no silver bullets.
Nope. It's about doing the fundamentals well and then amplifying those efforts with smart technology.
All right, so where do we start? What are the fundamentals?
Well, choosing the right niche is crucial. And I don't just mean picking a product category.
Like going to sell clothes.
Right. It's more specific than that. It's about finding a specific group of people with a particular need that you can uniquely fulfill.
So like, I'm going to sell vintage band t-shirts to Gen Z who are obsessed with 90s nostalgia.
Exactly. You're carving out your own little corner of the market where you're the go-to expert.
So we've got our niche. What's next?
Building trust, we've talked about this a bit already, a polished website.
Consistent branding.
Right, but it goes deeper than that. It's about transparency in your communications, authentically engaging on social media, and showing that you genuinely care about your customers.
So it's not just about selling, it's about building relationships.
Exactly, and this is where AI and automation can really come into play. Successful businesses are using AI to personalize the customer experience in ways that were impossible just a few years ago.
Okay, tell me more about this AI stuff. It sounds kind of sci-fi.
Imagine a chatbot that can answer customer questions instantly, 24/7.
Like a virtual assistant?
Right, or an algorithm that analyzes purchase history to suggest products that a customer might love but would never have thought to search for.
So it's like having a super-powered assistant working behind the scenes to make sure every customer feels seen and heard.
Exactly. AI can help you create those personalized experiences that really build loyalty.
That's pretty amazing. So we've got the right niche, we're building trust, and we're leveraging AI. What's next?
Don't forget about customer retention. The successful 10% aren't just making sales, they're building communities around their brands.
So it's like turning customers into fans who are excited to be part of something bigger.
Exactly. And email marketing can be a great tool for that. Sending out valuable content, not just promotional blasts, can keep people engaged.
So like sharing tips and tricks or behind-the-scenes glimpses.
Right, and loyalty programs make customers feel appreciated, and social media can be used to foster a sense of belonging.
So it's all about creating an experience that goes beyond just buying and selling.
Exactly. It's about building a connection with your customers.
All right, last but not least, let's talk about digital marketing. What are successful e-commerce businesses doing in this realm?
While they're masters of the blend, they're using SEO to build a strong foundation, content marketing to establish authority, and paid advertising to reach specific audiences.
So they're not just putting all their eggs in one basket?
Exactly. They're diversifying their strategies, and they're not just setting these campaigns on autopilot either.
So they're constantly monitoring and tweaking things.
Right. They're analyzing data, A/B testing different approaches, and refining their strategies to make sure they're getting the most bang for their buck.
So it's a dynamic process, always adapting and evolving.
Exactly. E-commerce success isn't about luck. It's about strategic thinking.
Data-driven decisions.
And a relentless focus on the customer.
We've covered a lot of ground today, from the pitfalls that trip up so many businesses to the strategies that propel the successful few.
It's been a great discussion.
And I think there's a lot for our listeners to take away and apply to their own e-commerce journeys.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up, here's a question for our listeners to ponder. If you could give one piece of advice to someone just starting their e-commerce journey, what would be? What's the single most important thing they need to understand?
That's a good question.
It is. It's a big question and something to think about. We've given you a lot of information today, but ultimately, the success of your e-commerce business is up to you.
Good luck out there.
And thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
We'll catch you next time.
See ya.
All right, that's a wrap.
Sounds good.